So at this time, I would like to introduce the next performer to the stage. He is from Northeast Philadelphia, just graduated out of Northeast High School, and he's set to start his freshman year at Drexel University in the fall. He has performed at many different events, including Missed Philly this past year, and give him a round of applause because he's also one of the photographers here today for Muslim City Fest. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Nurul Naim.
So this piece was one I wrote for Miss Philly, for those of you who are familiar with it. And it's about mercy and rahmah, which is such an important part of our deen and what we do in our everyday lives, and about Allah's mercy and about judgment among Muslims and just mercy throughout how you live your life. When speaking of rahmah or mercy, you often hear the same repetitive definition, the idea of helping, no sparing one who's in an inferior position, but that's only one single overused definition of such a powerful word with over 1 million different interpretations. Because the foundation of mercy is built on compassion, like sharing your blessings even when you've been given the smallest of rations shown to the homeless man on the street or the wealthy one living up in the mansion. And our Prophet ﷺ believed in this idea like compassion. After all, it's such an essential part of our deen, fundamental to our beliefs, and unfortunately a characteristic that today is so unlikely to be seen. Because when we look to the streets, turn on the news on our TVs, the same incidents happening repeatedly, a reoccurrence of tragedies. It is ever so apparent that in this society, humanity has become a rarity. When an AR-15 has more rights than a black brother walking the streets, children are being gunned down in their seats while education is underfunded and more money is spent on wars in the Middle East, genocide overseas. The children of Syria, Yemen, and Philistine cry while people in our own country are dying of illness and curable disease, aren't all in fear of medical bills more expensive than they could ever afford to appease. All this is being sealed, protected in an envelope sealed with a stamp that reads corporate greed, the same corporate greed that will be our downfall as society if we don't soon learn what mercy means. Because I think it's such a shame that we become so immune to the hypocrisy and all the hate and contradiction and judgment just gets brushed off as a normal human trait. I mean, isn't it crazy how we're living in 2018, a golden age of technology, far greater than anything our past generations have ever seen? Yet as our visions only grow stronger, we're losing sight of our deen. Because please tell me why in a time where social media has made us more than ever united, our one nation under God is ever so divided by the political powers in which we have confided our trust, maybe not through our votes and our supports, but by our inabilities to speak up. But how can we speak up when we're so focused on the irrelevant hostility within the ummah and the deen and we're losing all its benefits? Because I think it's such a shame that we become so immune to the hypocrisy and all the hate and contradiction and judgment just gets brushed off as a normal human trait. While we constantly complain about all the racism, bigotry, Islamophobic hate, misogyny, xenophobia, all the other issues to which we can relate, yet we still fail to differentiate ourselves from those who we claim oppress us when we continue to oppress our fellow Muslims and treat them as less, continue to express our dislike for mistakes they have made, sins they have committed, which we ourselves may have once committed, but would never have the courage to confess. There's no point of all that stress because that judgment is his and only his to make nonetheless. So when you're with your righteous Muslim friends, don't show such impatience towards the brother your friend's rumor has committed fornication, because what you may not know is that many of your friends lack the patience and are multiple times given into many of their temptations. And seeing the Muslim girl on the street without the hijab doesn't automatically give you a right to judge her when she may be closer to Allah and pray 5 times a day while you constantly misfudge her. Because no matter what happens, all that backbiting and judgment, it's never really worth it. Why do we strive for false perfection in a world that's anything but perfect? We raise our own righteous stature while others are hurting. But Islam never taught us that. Because in hard times like these, making someone feel weak in their deen is a sign of your own immaturity, not intelligence. After all, remember, Shaitan was never expelled for his sins, but his arrogance, a trait that many of us have unfortunately inherited. So when we see our fellow Muslims in need of guidance, we should only be trying to guide them instead of trying to divide them in their beliefs, because that is what true mercy means. The mercy that is found in the words that we speak, the blessings that we seek, the compassion shown to everyone, not just those who are weak. Mercy that is acknowledging that there's more to one that is hidden than there is to be seen. So many hearts that are broken without a cure, yet they are often the most clean and most pure because they know what mercy truly means. The same mercy that is acknowledging the Muslim woman's right to individuality granted to her by her religion from its conception in 16 AD and often taken away culturally, many times falsely in the name of the deen. Rights that far predate those of Western societies that throw stones from a glass house while screaming oppressive beliefs because they never understood what true mercy means. But yes, we as an ummah, The mercy that is vital in how your children are raised, always stressing to meet your unrealistic high standards, but never receiving your praise. Raising and encouraging both the little boy and the girl's right to dream of what they can be. I'm talking especially within our foreign communities where happiness is only encouraged when you pursue a certain career and degree, and being an outlier means you're a disappointment indeed. It's in times like these that we need to ask ourselves, is this what mercy truly means? And are we truly following the deen, or are we letting culture intervene in places where it shouldn't be? Because yes, we as an ummah and a nation are struggling indeed. So much culture and tradition have conflicted our religious beliefs while people are dying on our streets as well as overseas. While every little tragedy is followed by a lack of empathy and an overflow of tweets. But while we may not be able to change the world instantly, we can surely start within our own communities, learn to love a little more, ignore the hate and hypocrisy. Little acts of compassion can make someone's day indeed. Smile to a stranger, give to those who are in need, because that is what mercy truly means, to me at least. And I hope you'd agree too. So I just have one question. What does mercy mean to you?
ITV, Call of Peace, Save Humanity.